Carl will take over from here. Carl?
Hi, Carl here. So we'll start with Digibird Videowall processor. So similar to A10, Digibird also have fixed port type and also modular type. Okay. For the fixed port from Digibird, it's only have a 4x4, 8x8, 4x8, as well as 4x12. And also it's only now available in DVI-D inputs only, input outputs. Yeah. So this is the chassis size. Just now you can see that this one 4x4, 8x8, 4x8 is all in one U size. And also the 4x12 is 2U size. Okay. All of this is available in DVI interface. Later, I think in Q4 probably they will come out with the HDMI model. Okay. So, and then the modular one, actually, if compared to A10, they have a very wide range of modular chassis. So you can see they have the M4 and H4 series. They start with 3U size and up to 26U. Whereas for the H4 series, it's from 4U to 26U. Later we'll cover also what is the difference for this the M4, H4, and H Pro series. Okay. Okay. So for Digibird, if you notice this one, Digibird can provide a very flexible layout compared to I think if you notice earlier is that when you do video wall, actually the source actually is fixed into one panel, or you can form a video wall as a 2x2 video wall. Yeah, but then you cannot have a source is across the screen, or you cannot have the one source is only cover this size and another source is not to the full screen. Okay, or you cannot have a quad view into one panel as well. Okay, so these are the feature in the difference from Digibird and A10. So then later in the later slide, we also will cover the summary of how you want to choose based on your user requirement. Okay, so for fixed port one from Digibird, maximum there are 8 windows you can open. So for this panel, you can see is 4 windows, we call it. So for the fixed port one, you can have up to 8 into one panel. And the total for the video wall is 16 windows. Whereas for the modular type, minimum you can create 4 windows into one panel. And maximum you can have up to 16 windows in one panel. Yeah, depending on the card that you use. Okay, so technically there is no limitation on the total video wall size of the number of windows, because if you have 16 in one panel, and 8 panel is 8 times 16, it's very big. Yeah, I mean a lot of sources you can show into a video wall. Okay, so then this is the live preview and also the control interface from Digibird. So for all the modular and also fixed port series, you can have this. For example, you can use an iPad. These are the sources you can see at the side, and this is the actual video wall view. Right. So all the preview you can do a drag and drop, and then can do a pinch and zoom resizing of the sources on the video wall. Okay. Later we'll cover more details on how you can manage the layout. Okay. So technically you can view all input resources, and also you can view real-time video wall display. This is for M4, H4, H Pro series. Then it's using a web GUI. Then for the fixed port model with the C2-B series is a software, but the interface is quite similar also, and you can also have the preview. Okay. Then like we mentioned earlier, this one is a kind of what type of layout you can do using Digibird video wall processor, 2x2, and then this 2x2, some with a quad view, some with up to 8 windows into one panel, and you can do overlap and overlay on different screens, right? Okay. Then this some layout. Okay. So for Digibird, actually they are using a very powerful, actually similar to A10, they are using FPGA as well and using crosspoint technology. Okay. So what does it mean is that for crosspoint technology is like highway on the road. You can easily from one end to go to another end. Whereas using PCIe for some PC-based solution, that is a video wall based on PC, actually they are using PCIe technology. What does it mean is that some resources are shared. For example, on the road, you have to wait for one road to, all the cars to cross one side first before they can process another side that the car need to travel to another destination. Okay, so there is a lack of processing, whereas this one is straight to the point. Yeah. So it's a kind of faster and more powerful processing. Okay, then for Digibird, it's using IS-232 and UDP. UDP is for over IP control as well, whereas A10 is using Telnet. So both actually can support third-party control system integration. Okay, so all these are actually the shared features that's available across all Digibird products. So then we zoom in to for the Dash B series, which is a fixed port video processor. So for the fixed port type, it can actually apply to like LCD video wall and also LED video wall. Okay, then this is some connection diagram. Just a simple controller connect to video wall, and also you have multiple sources. And if you're using a PC, you need to install a software to control the video wall. Okay, then we'll cover more in detail for the modular video wall processor. So it's a M4, H4, and H Pro series. So what are the differences from fixed type and modular one? For modular one, if you notice, actually, we have a projector edge blender as well for the modular, which is under the H4 series. It's a EBC2. So it can actually covers and support LED as well as edge blending in one processor. Okay. So whereas M4, you can only do like LCD and LED, and also H4 is LCD and LED. Okay. So in terms of chassis, for M4 and H4, just now we covered already. These are the sizes available. And if you notice the PSU, the power supply, so it can support redundant power supply. For this 4U to 8U is up to 2, and 14U to 26U is up to 4 power supply. Yeah, and then of course the number of inputs and outputs you can support actually is up to 168 inputs and 144 outputs. In Singapore, actually we deploy all kind of sizes before. Yeah, for the biggest project is for home MHA. They use actually up to 26U as well. Why? Because they actually need I think 90 inputs. That's why even the 14U cannot put in the up to 90 sources. So we have to use a 26U, right? Whereas the H4 series is similar. So we also can support redundant power and also redundant control card. Okay, so here is some of the comparison. For M4, you can support, we normally recommend for Full HD requirement. If you have a 4K requirement, either it's H4 or H Pro. Okay, so and then all the interface are all supported across different series, and the number of for audio support for M4 and H4 is purely for video, whereas H4 is the latest model. Actually, we included the audio support as well. Okay, then this is a kind of summary for all the features for the modular video processor. It can also support scrolling text. Similar to A10, you can also do matrix come video wall, and you can also put in logo, background image, and it can support 3D display actually. And for one chassis or one video processor, actually you can control multiple video wall. So for the fixed port one, actually you can only form one video wall. But for the modular type from Videowall, it can actually control multiple video wall. Okay. And you can have the scenes and cycling. This is similar to A10 profile. Okay, then you have a video wall monitor. Later we'll go in more detail for this one to show you how does it work. And also the preview and user management. You can have a different user have different access right to control different wall or different sources. Okay, then also there's a hardware monitor. There's a in the system will prompt an alarm if any faulty hardware found. Okay, then also control system integration. Okay, so similar to A10, the Chase modular one actually is all the I/O cards are hot swappable, and also you can do 4K, HDMI, DP, or mix and match with your different HDMI or VGA, DVI outputs. Okay, so all these are pure hardware based. So it means that like without it's not a Windows based PC, so you don't have the blue screen, or you don't have the risk for virus or this kind of vulnerability. Okay, so it can also support redundant PSU and hot swappable I/O cards. So this is all types of module, different interface, and also 4K supported. Okay, so just now we talk about PSU, but for DigiBird, not only PSU, we also support dual control card. Means that you can have a master control card and you can have a slave control card. So when you purchase, it's also actually come with a master control card already. So it depends on the user whether they want to have a redundant control card, then you can purchase another one. So how does it work? Is that actually they make it very versatile. Is that even you have only the master control card, if the control cards fail, it actually will not affect the display of your video wall. It's still showing the content as per last settings, but you can't control and do any more changes, of course. Yeah, when you have a slave control card, when the master fail, then the slave control card actually take over, then you can control, continue to operate and do the switching or whatever operation you need on the video wall. Okay. Okay, the next, high availability. So if really a very critical, especially in command center project, some user may require a hot standby. What does it mean by hot standby? For normal deployment, when you have only one video wall processor, when something, the card is down, or even the main controller is down, you go and change the controller or swap the cards. But when in a hot standby, you have two units redundant. So when one fail, another immediately take over. So DigiBird also can support this kind of setup. Okay, when you have you need to, of course, you need to have another synchronized sync box from DigiBird, so it can synchronize and also detect the failure of one of the processor. Yeah, and then all the input sources have to be split into both video walls processor. Okay. Then with the similar setup, if let's say not for high availability or redundancy, you can also cascade multiple video wall processor to form a very big video wall. Let's say one chassis is not enough to cover, then you can cascade another chassis. Yeah. So it kind of provide some flexibility when the user want to expand in the future, they can add on the processor as well. Of course, you have to add in a synchronization box as well, and also have to split the sources to each of the video processor. Okay. So if the customer actually can already forecast what is the future requirement, then they can actually purchase one time, because I think 26U is big enough to fulfill all the requirement if they already know. Yeah, but if customer doesn't know the requirement and after that decided to add on, they can also cascade more video processor. Okay, so the next thing we will cover this when it is used for LED wall. So what is the good thing about DigiBird processor other than just can support LED wall? Yeah, because we have deployed for the LED wall before, especially when the zoom out of the image, actually sometimes it will form this kind of like not clear. You can see from the original graph and then become this kind of graph which is not clear. But when you are using DigiBird processor and using their J series output card, they have actually DigiBird dedicated algorithm to improve the display. So the performance will be very close to the original graph. Okay, especially when you are looking at text or graph. Okay, so this one is not, not available for the fixed port model, although it can support LED wall, but they don't have this kind of J series card. So yeah, so you have to use a specifically J series output card for LED wall. Okay, so video scrolling text support for the modular type. So you can actually add in scrolling text to the video wall. Let's say have some VIP is visiting the command center. You can also put in like welcome, yeah, so and so. Okay. Then high quality background image also supported. So you can put in or upload like 8K image into the video processor, and you can show as a background. Okay. So when there is no sources, then it's actually showing the background image instead. Okay. Then there's a multiple video wall groups. Okay. Then for Digibird, actually it can support up to 4 groups of different resolution video wall. Okay, if let's say it's the same resolution, actually it's kind of like unlimited, no limitation for the number of video wall it can form or you can control. Okay, then the scene saving and recalling, similar to A10, is a profiling, so we can do a different presets and call later for different, yeah. So then there's a video wall content remote monitoring. For Digibird, there is a monitoring card. So it is outputting full HD. As you can see over here, there's a 2x2 video wall. So from the Digibird output card, there's one port you can connect to, let's say in another meeting room or crisis management room, to connect to one TV, and you want to see the content of the video wall. You can do that as well. Okay, so as you can see, is the single display actually showing exactly whatever is shown on the video wall. Okay, so this is a feature, and also it support IP streaming. There's an encoder card and decoder card as well. So let's say a CCTV source, you can also put it as a source. Okay. So there's a label for the input as well. So easy for you, those users want to see what is this source from, you can label the source as well. And on the video wall, you can actually see. And also for during configuration time, they can see the panel actually connected to which output port. It's very useful when we first deploy the video wall. Yeah, the connection type. Okay, then the pre-editing, in the software or the GUI, actually the user can do a pre-configuration or pre-editing first before they push to actual video wall. They confirm this one is correct one, then you push to the video wall. Okay, then user management and access right control. Okay, different user can control video wall and different sources. Of course, then there's a different user level as well. Administrator, normal users, kind of user. Okay. Okay, then this is a interface that you can show. You select the card, actually it show you the information of the current card. What is the temperature running? Yeah, and also what is the resolution? Yeah, all this kind of information. Yeah, so it can also support standby and wake up. So let's say, I mean, end of the day, they want to put it to sleep mode or standby mode. You can actually, when integrated with the control system, just press one button, it go to standby mode, and the next morning you can press and then you wake up. So, okay. So the next one is only for H4 and H Pro series is the support for 4K 60 444 processing. So we call this a true 4K. So if you notice, there is 4K and also true 4K. Normally we're referring to 4K as a 4K 30 Hz, and true 4K is a 4K 60 Hz 444 processing. Okay, for these two series, we actually can support 4K, true 4K, which is a 4K 60 Hz. Okay, then for H Pro series, as we showed you earlier, is can also support audio embedding, de-embedding, and also mixing the audio. As you can see, HDMI, you can de-embed the audio out, or the VGA plus audio, you can embed the audio in, right? And then go out to the HDMI, single HDMI output, you can have a mix of all the audios, okay? So this is the example of the connection diagram. So similar to the fixed port one, this is a video wall processor. You can have multiple different type of interface go in, HDMI, DVI, or even IP stream in. Then you can have a connect to Wi-Fi router and using PC or mobile phone or iPad to control. Yeah, then you can control multiple video walls. Yeah, of different interface as well.